Pierre, the question was, will he build 550,000 new homes, yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
He mentioned the history lesson. Well, if he was housing minister, he should have known that the way we solved the housing crisis after World War II was by putting forward a catalog of homes that builders could access to build extremely rapidly right across the country. So yes, that's one of the measures we're bringing back. And his mockery of concrete initiatives that are going to deliver for Canadians is exactly what's wrong with his approach. He'd rather mock and insult than actually roll up his sleeves and get solutions built for Canadians.
Order. The Honourable Member from London Fanshawe.
Report after report has shown that women who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces are not safe, and consecutive governments have failed to act urgently. Shamefully, a new report revealed that 5% of women have been sexually attacked at their military colleges in the last 12 months. Justice Arbour was clear. Now is the time to end the toxic culture that exists within these colleges. Women deserve a safe place to train and to learn. When will the Prime Minister act to protect women who are the future generation of the Canadian Armed Forces?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we absolutely agree that the culture at the Royal Military College needs to change. That's why we took action. We appointed the Canadian Military College Review Board last year to enable meaningful culture change at these institutions. No RMC cadet and no CAF member should ever be subject to harassment, discrimination, or misconduct. The Minister of National Defence will not hesitate to implement the necessary changes to protect cadets and all officers.
The Honourable Member for Rosemount-La Petite Patrie. Mr. Speaker, did you find last summer difficult? We remember the forest fires, the evacuations, the smoke in the sky, the heat waves, but hold on to your hats because the summer of 2023 may well have been the most pleasant for the next 20 years. The summer to come will even be hotter. The number of suffocating days will multiply, as will heat waves and heat domes. The climate crisis is real. Vulnerable populations and seniors are suffering. Will the Prime Minister get it through his head that continuing to support the oil industry is madness? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we will continue with the most ambitious fight against climate change that Canada has ever seen. And we are delivering results. Excluding the pandemic, Canada's emissions have never been as low in 25 years. And we are the first federal government to achieve its emissions targets. It is possible to reduce emissions, to fight climate change, and to support Canadians and grow the economy at the same time. That's what we're going to continue to do to build a stronger, greener future for all Canadians.
The Honourable Member from Vaughan Woodbridge.
Mr. Speaker, thanks to the work of our government, Ontario is a leading manufacturing hub for the 21st century. Companies from across the world are choosing Ontario to build high-tech factories that are focused on delivering real climate action. The world knows that the economy of tomorrow needs to be built on sustainability because climate change is real. Evidently, the Conservative Party did not get the memo. Can the Prime Minister tell this House more about what the government is doing to make Ontario a global leader in electric vehicle production?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the whole world is embracing an economy based on renewable energy and clean techs. The member for Vaughan Woodbridge is right. Thanks to our bold investments, Ontario is now a global leader in EV production. We have the #1 EV battery supply chain in the world, thanks to investments from companies like Honda, Stellantis, and Volkswagen. These are thousands of good jobs and billions of dollars invested in Ontario that the Conservative Party is opposing for no good reason. Shame on them, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. This morning, a shocking article in La Presse says that children escorted by police to leave daycares because of homeless people and injection sites next to them. I'm quoting the director of the daycare. It's not normal to have to walk through with policemen around a daycare. Why, with the support of the Bloc, is this Prime Minister putting our children in danger by allowing violent repeat offenders take drugs on our streets? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, nurses, hospital personnel, and all patients and Canadians should be able to feel safe in their workplaces and in hospitals. This is our government has supported $1 billion in the healthcare system to make sure Canadians have access to the best healthcare possible. The difference between us and the Conservative Party is that while they seek to criminalize those who are most vulnerable, drug addicts, we are rolling up our sleeves and working at all levels of government to resolve this crisis. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, he didn't hear the question. It was in terms of daycares. Yes, because of the decriminalization in BC, nurses had to breathe in crack and meth fumes. But now I'm talking about Montreal, where his policies led to the liberation of violent criminals and drugs in the streets next to a daycare. Once again, my question, why is the Bloc and the Liberals, why are they not accepting our common sense plan to eliminate drugs and put criminals in prison? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, what the Conservative leader is proposing is a step back to policies of the Harper years, which failed in the fight against drug addiction. And even one of the government's Harper advisors recognizes that it was a clear failure. We're going to continue to be here to make sure, assure security for everyone, including for children in daycares, with a compassion-based approach, health-based approach, and keeping people safe. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Many Canadians want to go back to the days when children didn't need police officers at their daycares, Mr. Speaker. But after 9 years, the Bloc Liberal government is not worth the cost. The Bloc voted for $500 billion in inflationary bureaucratic spending and centralizing spending. This has caused 60% of consumers to say that they are in stress. When will the Bloc change its tax and inflationary spending on the backs of Quebecers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader has just explained that his approach is austerity. Austerity for a government that would make it hard for people. We have chosen to invest to help Canadians. For example, help seniors with dental care. And since the beginning of May, there have been more than 100,000 seniors able to obtain dental care across our country. This is an initiative that helps keep costs down and take care of vulnerable people. And the Conservative Party will continues to vote against it and even tried to block it across the country. This is shameful. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
About austerity, well, I think that the Bransfield family of 4 in Calgary can tell him all about austerity, because that's what they're living right now because of his housing hell, his carbon taxes, and his inflation. They said, close quote, "We're having to choose between paying a bill or getting food, and that can be really hard. It makes things really difficult. And I just don't see an end in sight." Will the Prime Minister accept our common sense plan to axe the tax, fix the budget, build the homes, so that the Bransfield family and so many others can eat, heat, and house themselves?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I disagree with the Leader of the Opposition who wants to take away the Canada carbon rebate checks that arrive 4 times a year in the bank accounts of the Bransfield families. Indeed, 8 out of 10 Canadians, according to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, are better off with the Canada carbon rebate as we fight climate change with the price on pollution. 8 out of 10 Canadian families from coast to coast in the jurisdictions where the carbon price applies are better off. That includes, most likely, the Bransfield family, and we will continue to be there for them.
The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Let's not be mistaken. I have the great respect for the state of Israel, but things have to stop. With this in mind, is the Prime Minister ready to support the ICG and the ICC to adhere to international law and help all peoples who could be subject to arrest on Canadian territory? And is he ready to apply the Canadian sanctions regime to Israelis who openly commit crimes against humanity in the Gaza Strip? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, Canada supports the independent work of the ICJ and the ICC. We are here to support the process and to ensure that everyone follows international law, including the rulings of these courts.